Hello. I'll read some parts from Ramana Maharshi and then we'll expand on it, open it. What is the method of practice? As the self of a person who tries to attain self-realization is not different from him, and as there is nothing other than or superior to him to be attained by him, self-realization being only the realization of one's own nature. The seeker of liberation realizes without doubts or misconceptions his real nature by distinguishing the eternal from the transient, and never swerves from his natural state. This is known as the practice of knowledge. This is the inquiry leading to self-realization. I'll begin from the beginning. As the self of a person who tries to attain self-realization is not different from him, it is pointing that one's own true nature is the self. It is self-realizing itself by itself, which is not different than who you truly are, the self. Is nothing other than or superior to him to be attained by him, self-realization being only the realizations of one's own nature. It's to realize that your true nature is the self, which is changeless awareness, choiceless awareness. It is the background of awareness prior to every thought, behind any thought, beyond the mind itself. It is silence. It is absolutely still. When you realize that this is your true nature, then you stop identifying with the thoughts that appear and disappear to be yourself. You stop believing the mind to be who you are, because you realize that your true nature is silence, and this is who you truly are. Nothing to do with thoughts, ideas, beliefs, or misconceptions. And he continues, it's the realization of one's own nature. The seeker of liberation realizes without doubts or misconceptions his real nature by distinguishing the eternal from the transient. Here it is pointing to discrimination between thoughts that appear and disappear, that are fleeting in nature, and who you truly are, which is absolutely silence or absolutely still. Discriminating between the thought and the silence itself, without having any doubt that the thought is not you, and remain silently aware. And never swerves from his natural state means not getting attached to the thoughts and start wandering in a dream, getting lost with ideas and beliefs, anchoring the mind in the silence, which is who you truly are. So it continues and points, this is known as the practice of knowledge. It's discriminating and distinguishing the eternal from the thoughts which are transient, and never swerving from the natural state which is silence. This is known as the practice of knowledge. This is the inquiry leading to self-realization. So inquiry implies you actually inquiring, where is the I thought arise from? Is the I thought that appear to be real, is it who you truly are? because anything that appears and disappears is transient, is not real. It appears to be real, yet when you truly closely examine it, or look at it, observe it, witness it, you see it appears and pass away. And another thought might appear and it also pass away. And you come to realize that you are the background of awareness that never appears or disappears. It never comes and goes. It never moves. It always is as it is. Remain silently aware. And everyone can recognize it right now if they fix their attention on the silence within. If there is no recognition of that silence within, then all that is required is to discriminate the thoughts that appear and to disappear. Examine the concepts and ideas. See if they are real. See if they are actually permanent or not. Then the next question is, can this path of inquiry be followed by all aspirants? And the answer, this is suitable only for ripe souls. The rest should follow different methods according to the state of their minds. So it points that it requires maturity for one to inquire into the nature of who they truly are and root the mind in the silence and not follow the thoughts and get lost in a dream. So only the ones who are ready to really realize who they truly are and abide permanently in one's own true nature. And then there's an answer, what are the other methods? And he gives about different methods, and I'll talk about one of the methods, which are concentration. The concentration makes the mind one-pointed, and when the mind is one-pointed, then the thought can dissolve into one's own true nature. And this is perfect concentration when you fix the attention on the silence, on that which never moves. Concentration denotes in the repetition of names, etc., mentally, with the feeling of devotion. Means there's the devotion within to concentrate the mind mentally. And concentration can be around the I thought, it can be concentration, I am pure consciousness, and repeat it. The most important is the I thought would be in the concentration, I am that which is beyond, and you concentrate on that. You concentrate the mind on that, and there's no other thoughts, and that's where the concentration builds up and the mind turns to be stronger. And it's not the ego that turns to be stronger, it's the intellect, or the buddhi, what they call, which is the master within, and that enables the mind to dissolve into the source, and then there's perfect concentration. In this method, the state of the mind will be understood easily. So when one concentrates on the I thought, or I am, or I am that, then the one would be able to see the wandering of the mind. They would see all the stupidities of the mind, the insanity of the mind, and one would shift the attention from it instead of feeding the energy. For the mind does not become concentrated and diffused simultaneously. So it is pointing, if the mind is concentrated, it's not going to be dispersed and having many thoughts at the same time. And when you start having many thoughts, it's thoughts about the past, identifying with the body, or thoughts about the future. It's all about body identification, moving from desire and fear. Okay? When one is in concentration, it does not contact the object of the senses. And when it is in contact with the objects, it is not in concentration. So he explains very clearly what concentration is. When one is in concentration, it does not contact the objects of the senses. Means when one is in deep concentration, it cuts the senses, so there is not the objects that are perceived through the senses, and it's only the thoughts, so it's only on the subtle, looking all within. And when it is in contact with the objects, it is not in concentration. So when one is in concentration and then it's contact with the objects of the senses, it's not real concentration. That would be a gauge for each one to see if they are concentrated truly or not. Therefore, those who are in this state can observe the latencies of the mind then and there, and by stopping the mind from thinking other thoughts, fix it in the concentration. Perfection in concentration is the state of abiding in the self, abiding in the form of that silence which is permanent and is always present. So it explains very clearly what concentration is, what is perfect concentration. Take it in, put it into use, discriminate the thoughts, get the mind concentrated. And when the mind is concentrated around the I, it is absorbed in the silence. And then you remain as perfect or perfection itself.